Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when the weight feels too heavy, the road feels too long, and the dream feels too distant. A moment when the enemy whispers, "This is as far as you go." But today, I came to remind you that the art of not giving up is not about the absence of struggle, it's about the presence of determination. You see, persistence is not a feeling. Persistence is a decision you make when everything around you is telling you to quit. A decision you make when you don't have the strength, but you still have the will. A decision you make when the night gets long, but you believe that morning is coming. Some of you are standing in front of doors that won't open, not because they're locked, but because you stopped knocking. You forgot that sometimes the blessing doesn't come on the first knock or the second or the 10th. Sometimes the blessing comes to the one who knocks until the hinges shake. The art of not giving up requires that you learn to encourage yourself. You won't always have cheerleaders, you won't always have applause, you won't always have someone to tell you keep going. But there is a strength inside you buried quiet, resilient, that knows how to speak even when your world is silent. Listen for that voice and don't misunderstand. Refusing to give up does not mean forcing what is not yours. It means standing firm in what you were created for. There is a difference. Some battles you release, but your purpose, your destiny, your calling that you hold like a lifeline, life will test you. Storms will rise, people will doubt you. Circumstances will squeeze you, but pressure is not always punishment. Sometimes pressure is preparation. Diamonds don't form in comfort, oil doesn't flow without crushing, and your greatness won't emerge without friction. So don't give up. Don't bow to discouragement. Don't surrender your future to a temporary season. Your breakthrough may not show up on your schedule, but it will show up on time. Keep walking, keep pushing, keep believing. The art of not giving up is not mastered in one day, but every day you choose to stand, you become stronger. Your story isn't finished, your promise isn't gone, your best days are not behind you. They're waiting patiently ahead, calling your name. All you must do is not give up. Persistence is born in the quiet places of the heart, in moments when emotions refuse to cooperate and motivation seems far away. It is not something you wait to feel. It is something you decide to do. Feelings rise and fall like the tide. One moment they strengthen you, the next they leave you drained. But persistence is different. It is steady. It is deliberate. It is the inner resolve to move forward even when your mind is tired and your spirit feels stretched. There will be days when you don't wake up inspired, days when the path ahead feels too steep, the challenges too heavy, and the progress too slow. On those days, persistence steps in as a decision you make despite discomfort, uncertainty, or fear. It is the understanding that your destiny cannot be built on emotion alone. If you wait to feel ready, you may never begin. If you wait to feel strong, you may never continue. But when you choose to persist, you break the cycle of depending on shifting emotions and step into the discipline that builds character. Persistence is saying, "I will show up," even when no applause greets your effort. It is the willingness to keep taking small steps, to keep pushing through resistance, and to keep honoring your purpose, even when nothing around you seems to validate the journey. It is choosing progress over perfection, commitment over comfort, and future promise over present weariness. In the end, persistence is not measured in how often you felt courageous, but in how often you acted despite the lack of courage. It is the daily, sometimes hourly, decision to keep moving toward what matters, and every time you choose it, you strengthen the foundation of who you are becoming. Doors open, not simply because someone desires what is on the other side, but because they refuse to walk away from the threshold. Opportunity often responds to consistency more than talent, timing, or even strength. When you keep knocking, You are declaring through your persistence that you believe something valuable is waiting beyond the barrier. Most people knock once, hear nothing, and assume the answer is no. But sometimes silence is not rejection. It is a test of endurance. It is life asking, how badly do you want what you're reaching for? Every knock is a statement of faith, a reminder that effort creates momentum even when results are delayed. There are dreams that do not unfold on the first attempt, goals that do not yield after the first try, and blessings that require endurance to obtain. When you keep knocking, you develop resilience. You teach yourself that closed doors aren't always permanent. Some doors remain shut because they are waiting for the right version of you to arrive. The act of knocking again and again strengthens your character, clarifies your intentions, and prepares you for what lies inside. Sometimes the door opens not because it suddenly becomes easier, but because you finally become stronger. Persistence reshapes your mindset, refines your determination, and elevates your confidence. And there comes a moment, quiet, subtle, almost surprising, when the handle turns not because the door changed, but because your perseverance unlocked it. So keep knocking, even when it feels repetitive, even when discouragement tries to silence your hand. The door often swings open for the one who refuses to walk away. There will be moments in life when the voices around you fall silent, when applause fades, and when the people you hoped would cheer for you are nowhere to be found. In those moments, you must learn to reach inside yourself and find a source of encouragement that does not depend on external validation. Encouraging yourself is not arrogance, it is survival. It is the recognition that your strength cannot be built solely on the approval of others. Sometimes you have to speak hope into your own soul when no one else remembers to. Learning to encourage yourself means understanding that you are allowed to affirm your own progress. You can look at how far you've come and celebrate it, even if it doesn't look impressive to anyone else. You can remind yourself that your small steps matter, that your efforts count, and that your endurance is worth more than you realize. It means refusing to let discouragement echo louder than your destiny. It means choosing to replace self-doubt with truth, fear with courage, and exhaustion with determination. There will be seasons when you feel isolated, when the people you expected to support you are distracted, distant, or dealing with their own storms. In those seasons, you will discover that internal encouragement is a skill, a discipline, and sometimes even a lifeline. It is the quiet whisper inside that says, "You can do this," even when your circumstances say otherwise. It is the ability to lift your own spirit when the weight of life tries to push you down. Encouraging yourself teaches you resilience. It teaches you not to rely on the unpredictable nature of external validation. It teaches you to build your identity on something unshakable. When you learn to speak life into your own heart, you become harder to break, harder to discourage, and harder to stop. You become someone who can rise from low moments with a renewed sense of purpose, because your hope comes from within, not from applause. And the beautiful thing is this: once you learn to encourage yourself, you will discover that you are never truly empty. You carry within you a well of strength, wisdom, and courage that you can draw from whenever the journey gets rough. You become your own reminder that you are worthy, capable, and destined for more. Encouragement from others is wonderful, but encouragement from yourself is transformational. Life will always present you with battles, opportunities, relationships, responsibilities, and dreams, but wisdom lies in knowing which of these deserve your energy and which are quietly asking to be released. Not everything that enters your life is meant to stay, and not everything that challenges you is meant to be fought. Sometimes you are holding on to things that drain more strength than they give, while the things that truly matter are waiting for you to make room. There is a powerful difference between persistence and attachment. Persistence pushes you toward purpose, while unhealthy attachment keeps you tied to what no longer serves you. Releasing something doesn't always mean it was wrong. Sometimes it simply means its season has ended. It means acknowledging that your growth has outpaced its role in your life. It means understanding that peace is often found on the other side of letting go. Letting something go is not a sign of weakness. In many cases, it is one of the highest forms of strength. It takes courage to admit that something you invested in, believed in, or hoped for no longer aligns with the person you are becoming. Yet, at the same time, there are moments when you must fight with everything inside you. There are dreams that are too precious to abandon, callings too deep to ignore, and purposes too significant to surrender. These are the things that stretch you, challenge you, and raise you into a stronger version of yourself. They may be difficult, they may be delayed, they may even seem impossible, but something inside you recognizes that they are woven into the very fabric of your destiny. These are the things worth fighting for, the relationships that grow you, the visions that won't leave your heart, the assignments that pull you forward even when you feel tired. Distinguishing between what to release and what to fight for requires maturity. It requires quiet reflection, honest self-evaluation, and the courage to follow what brings life to your spirit rather than what satisfies your fears. It means learning to listen to the subtle signals within you, the peace that arrives when something is right, and the restlessness that lingers when something is wrong. It means accepting that not all losses are failures, and not all battles are meant to be won. When you develop this discernment, you stop wasting energy on things that were never meant to anchor your future. You reclaim your power, you protect your focus, you create space for what is truly meant to flourish in your life. And with that clarity, you walk with a different confidence because you know that you are no longer fighting for everything. You are fighting for what matters, and that shift changes everything. Pressure has a way of making you question your strength, your purpose, and sometimes even your identity. When life presses in on you from every side, it's easy to assume you've done something wrong, or that you're being singled out for hardship. But pressure is not always a sign of punishment. In many cases, it is a sign that something valuable is forming within you. The weight you feel is often the evidence that you are being stretched, strengthened, and shaped for something greater than your current season can reveal. Growth rarely happens in comfort. Comfort maintains, but pressure transforms. It pushes you beyond what you believed you were capable of. It forces you to tap into reserves of strength, courage, and creativity that would have remained dormant without the challenge. Just as a seed must be buried before it breaks open, and just as olives must be crushed before oil can flow, your greatest potential often emerges in moments that feel the most overwhelming. What feels like breaking is often the beginning of becoming. Pressure trains you to endure. It teaches you resilience. It develops character in a way that ease and convenience never could. When everything around you feels challenging, your inner capacity begins to expand. You start to discover parts of yourself you didn't know existed, disciplines you never practiced, perspectives you never considered, and strengths you never recognized. You learn how to stand firm, how to think clearly under stress, and how to persevere when everything in you wants to retreat. What you're facing may feel unfair, but it may also be essential. There are certain levels of purpose that require you to be stronger, wiser, and more focused than you were before. Pressure prepares you for those levels. It strips away what you don't need, sharpens what you do, and equips you for challenges and opportunities that are still unfolding ahead of you. The person you are becoming on the other side of the struggle is far more capable than the person you were when the struggle began. When you begin to see pressure as preparation, your perspective shifts. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this building in me?" You stop interpreting hardship as rejection and begin to recognize it as refinement. You understand that the weight placed on you is not meant to crush you, but to condition you. And with that understanding, you gain the strength to endure seasons that once would have broken you. So when life feels heavy, remember this: pressure is not there to punish you. It is there to prepare you. It is shaping you for what you prayed for, building you for what you dreamed of, and strengthening you for the future that is calling your name. You may not see the full picture now, but one day you will look back and realize that what you thought was hurting you was actually helping you become the person you were destined to be. There are seasons in life when the present feels so heavy that it becomes difficult to imagine anything beyond the weight of today. Disappointments linger, past mistakes echo, and setbacks can make the future seem blurry or distant. But no matter how overwhelming the moment may feel, your future still holds promise. Your story is not confined to the chapter you're currently living. There are pages ahead that you have not yet turned, victories you have not yet witnessed, and opportunities you have not yet embraced. It's easy to let discouragement convince you that what you see right now is all there will ever be. But life unfolds in layers, and every season carries the possibility of unexpected shifts. The same ground that looks barren today can burst into life tomorrow. The dreams that feel dormant can ignite again. The purpose that seems out of reach can suddenly rise to meet you. The future is never limited by the difficulties of the present. It is shaped by your willingness to believe that something greater is still possible. Sometimes your vision becomes clouded by what you've been through. Pain has a way of whispering that you are finished. Failure tries to tell you that your potential has expired. Delays attempt to convince you that you missed your moment. But these are lies formed in vulnerable moments. The truth is that each setback carries wisdom, each delay carries preparation, and each challenge carries growth. What you call a detour may simply be divine redirection. What you thought was the end may be the exact turning point that leads you into a more meaningful season. You may not see how things will work out, and that's okay. Hope doesn't require certainty, only willingness. A willingness to believe that change is possible, that healing can happen, and that destiny can still unfold in ways you never expected. The promise attached to your future is not cancelled because of your struggle. It is not erased by your imperfections. It is not diminished by the opinions of others. The promise remains because purpose remains, and as long as you are still breathing, so is your potential. Hold on to the truth that there is more ahead of you than behind you. The doors you haven't walked through, the relationships you haven't formed, the ideas you haven't discovered, and the strength you haven't yet tapped into are all waiting in the chapters to come. Your future holds promise because you are still growing, still learning, still evolving. You are not defined by your lowest moment. You are defined by your capacity to rise beyond it. So lift your eyes from the weight of the present and dare to believe that brighter days are not just possible, they are on their way. Your future still holds promise, and it is patiently waiting for you to step into it with courage, hope, and expectation.